Part 26. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 251. When Yebai told Master Ju his conjecture, Master Ju also fell silent. After a while, he slowly spoke. This possibility cannot be ruled out. Yingju didn't seem to agree with Yebai's conjecture. Master Ju has his own guess about the child's identity. Huhowever, he didn't plan to tell Yebai. Yebai pretended to be nonchalant, skipped the topic, and asked. Master Ju, Huofeng, what's going on with the King of Heaven, has he gone crazy? Yingju briefly introduced what happened to King Huotian to Yebai. 9 deaths without regrets, 1 point, and 9 leaps into the coffin, 2 are missing. Yebai pondered for a moment and spoke again. In other words, there are 9 Huo Wang in total. The only 2 missing ones are still teaming up and targeting me. Yingju nodded. So be it. Master Ju, we agreed in advance that I won't accept the job of challenging King Huo no matter how much you pay. Yebai said righteously. Those are the top 2 war gods of the human race. Didn't you see him beat your dick until he was unable to fight back? Where is the abuse of food? It is simply abuse of food. Obviously, the scene where King Huo Tianwang beat up the bad woman left a particularly deep memory in Yebai's memory. Even if you beat Yebai to death, you won't fight this kind of monster. No matter how much money you pay, it won't work. The most terrifying thing is that through the eyes of insight, Yebai saw certain details clearly. Huo Tianwang, who claims to shoot with level 200 strength, really suppressed the level to 200. The situation turned out to be one-sided, with Huo Tianwang violently beating Ying Er. Mainly because, although King Huo Tian is restricted in level, his talent development has not been suppressed. The second awakening, the talent of wandering between life and death countless times 9 deaths without regrets. When Huo Tianwang is at his peak, even weaker demons will avoid his edge. The level of demon gods is generally above level 995. For example, the 13th demon god at the bottom is level 995. Apart from the most powerful demon, the great demon is the only known demon that has broken through to level 1000. The second demon god's apparent level is level 999. Judging from the results of several battles, his strength is not inferior to that of Yingju. In other words, even if the most powerful person does not take action, the peak god of war can still confront the demon god and even have a chance to kill him. For example, the battle where the 6th demon god fell. That is, Yingju and the 13th demon god attack at the same time. When the strength of the 6th demon god is reduced to a certain level, Yingju stops and the 13th demon god kills the 6th demon god. If the partner is replaced by Madman Huo, Yingju and Madman Huo can work together to kill the 6th demon god. The premise is, they don't fight among themselves. This premise is not established and the assumption is invalid. In the final analysis, the balance between humans and demons is maintained by the top combat power of both sides. The most powerful human race is obviously stronger than the demon god, but he still has to resist the strongest demon god. Every time the most powerful demon god wakes up, he will be beaten back. It is precisely because of the existence of the most powerful demon god that the most powerful humans will generally not take action against the demon god. In exchange, the demon god will not take action against the 9th level god of war. The real opponent of the demon god is the Tongtian war god. The more war gods there are in the human race, the greater the pressure on the demon gods to survive and the narrower their living space. This is why Xiaoao once told Yebai before that Xuemeng was very important. Xuemeng, who is stuck at level 989, will become the god of war once he crosses the barrier in front of him. There is no longer any suspense about the position of the number 1 war god in the human race. It also means that the demon gods can directly take action. No, there is no need to open the table at all, you can have a seat. You can sign up on site to eat the tributes. Of course, these things are still far away from Ye Bai now. What he has to worry about is what he should do if the full level 200 King Huo Tianwang is eyeing him. At this moment, Ye Bai was extremely lucky that he had been doing a good job of keeping his identity secret. If Ye Bai's identity is revealed at this moment, put aside the threat of the devil. Those few punches from Madman Guanghuo, regardless of whether they killed Ye Bai, the blows on his body were really painful. I have never regretted it after 9 deaths. With these years of life and death fighting and becoming stronger countless times, I am already cheating. Ye Bai spread his hands, his expression extremely helpless. It just so happens that in order to become stronger, this man tortured himself crazy, and then hid in a coffin for so many years. Everyone thought that Madman Huo was seriously injured and had not recovered. Once he took action, a meteor would streak across the sky and disappear after a moment. Only Yingju knew that Madman Huo who stepped out of the black coffin was the most terrifying existence. After so many years of serious injuries that have not healed and he is on the verge of death, Madman Huo's combat power continues to accumulate and become stronger and stronger. If Ye Bai really happened to meet him. Okay. With the second master causing such trouble, the morning training was over. In the afternoon and evening, corresponding courses are arranged. In the classroom, Ye Bai silently waited for 12 o'clock in the morning, the opening time of the Eternal Tower. Before heading to the abyss, Ye Bai gong passed the 19th floor and completed his job change. The next floor is the 20th floor, where you can score 5s. It's been a long time since he returned to the Eternal Tower, and he was thinking about his 5s rating. At the same time, somewhere Ye Bai didn't know. A heated discussion broke out in the Shadow group. Love and family film. Weak woman, Shadow 1 Chongshan, are you accompanying Shura to the abyss this time? Heavy Mountain, Shadow 10 yes. Weak woman, Shadow 1 I just have a question, is Shura the strongest? Heavy Mountain, Shadow 10 yes. Weak woman, Shadow 1 Master Ju, does Shura have any hope of becoming the strongest in 10 years? Yingju didn't want to answer this question. However, he had agreed with Yingyi back then that this was a question that must be answered. Group leader, Shadow 9 yes. Administrator, Xiaoao 1 year. A message from the administrator, Xiaoao, was withdrawn by the group owner. The administrator, Xiaoao, was kicked out of the group chat by the group owner. Group leader, Yingju after seeing the message just now, I have something to ask you. I recently developed a memory sealing technique, which seems to be effective even for the god of war. No one cared about what Master Ju said later. The weakest of the shadows in this group is the god of war. As Ying Shi introduced to Ye Bai before, there are 2 types of shadows. The first type is the shadow system powerhouse who joins the shadow for various reasons. It's said to be joining, but actually, it's more like taking in. Only Yingju's protection can allow them to survive. This is the case for Shadow 1, Shadow 2, and Shadow 3. The second type is strong human beings like Lu Qinjiao and Ying Jinghua. When they were seriously injured and on the verge of death, Master Ju used secret methods to save them. Due to the lack of souls and the effect of the secret method, they are more comfortable in the shadows on weekdays. Helping the lone wolf protect the road is done on a voluntary basis. In fact, there are more shadows who choose to sleep or live the life they want. They even have a city of their own, Shadow Castle. 1 year. The simple 2 words Xiaoao made countless shadows in front of the little black box go crazy. The most powerful seed Shura will grow into the most powerful person within 1 year. If anyone else said this, no one would believe it. It happens to be the existence that is least likely to lie and has the strongest strength Xiaoao. Any god of war would have some understanding of Xiaoao's character. Lie. What's so boring is that this Taoist priest really doesn't bother to do it. The entire group fell into an eerie silence for a moment. It was clear that everyone was filled with excitement, but no one spoke at this moment. Everyone has their own ideas. The rise of a new generation of powerful beings is an opportunity for many beings in the shadows. Even, a chance of complete resurrection. About a minute later, new information was sent out. Shadow Bamboo, Shadow 5, a world of great conflict. 4 words that speak to everyone's heart. This era of strength is even crazier than the previous one. The most powerful seed, Shura, will become the most powerful within 1 year, which also means that there is only 1 year left for everyone. Only by becoming the right-hand man of the most powerful can you gain the greatest benefits in the era of the most powerful. Only the top group of strong people have the opportunity to go further. They must be stronger. Come and face the coming era of great strife, and welcome the coming era of greatest strength. All the shadows with God of War level strength fell into madness at this moment, going crazy in order to become stronger. In front of the small black box, even if he was unhappy with Shura, Yang Qi was still shocked at this moment. In 1 year, Shura can become the strongest. Yang Qi touched the knife at his waist, a cold light flashed in his eyes. I have to be stronger. I can't delay. I will challenge Yang Wu tonight. She belongs to the second type of shadow. She can become stronger by challenging the superior person and swapping levels after winning. And this challenge will be conducted under the witness of Master Ju. The levels of both parties are exactly the same, and victory or defeat depends entirely on ability. Shadow 7 is 60% sure to defeat Shadow 5. Under this cruel mechanism, coupled with the catalysis of all shadows' desire to become stronger, an obvious situation will result, a situation that even Shadow 7's IQ can think of. The weakest shadow will be challenged by everyone. I don't know which poor guy he is, I don't know how many levels he will drop. It's so miserable. A bastard, you can still lie down and fool around for a while, and get a good ranking. Facing the temptation of the age of greatest strength and the age of great strife, all shadows rolled up. Every ranking will be fiercely contested by everyone. There is no room for bastards to survive. With just 2 words, Xiaoao forced all the shadow war gods to become volume kings. Just as Yang Qi thought of this, the small black box in her palm suddenly vibrated slightly. Shadow 10 challenges you to cross a higher level. The challenge is scheduled for 15 minutes. Please be prepared in advance. Yang Qi was stunned. Zhongshan challenged him? Isn't that his own defeated general? That's right. Maybe Zhongshan has some trump card. He let it slip a little last time. It makes sense. This is how Yang Qi makes excuses for himself. Tell yourself, don't panic, you are definitely not a bastard. Absolutely not. Before Yang Qi could recover, the little black box vibrated again. Shadow 11 challenges you to cross the next level. Shadow 12 challenges you. Countless messages poured in, and the small black box fell from Yang Qi's palm and rolled several times on the ground. The side with the printed text is facing up, and it clearly says, currently unread messages 99+. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjio Old Thief. Chapter 252. Let's not talk about Shadow 7, who is challenged by all the shadows of the God of War. In a corner of the little black box, there is a dark and unknown group. Master Ju, I really want to be the God of War, 5 shadows. In this small group, there are only 5 people, Yang 1, Yang 2, Yang 3, and Yang 9. Weak woman, Shadow 1 Master Ju, am I cooperating well? Bad woman, Film 2 older women are still hotter, with just a few words from Master Ju, those guys got rolled up. Bad man, Video 2 as the old saying goes, the best way to spread a message is to withdraw it. Group leader, Shadow 9 you still have a lot to learn about being a human being. Xiaoao used 2 simple words to trigger the King of Roles competition. How could Xiaoyao do such a boring thing without Master Ju instigating him? The real mastermind behind the scenes is Master Ju. The best hunters often appear in the form of prey. Unnamed, Shadow 3 Master Ju, there's only one thing I can't figure out: how did you convince that person to lie? Others are curious about this question, too. He grew into a powerful person within a year. Is this speed too exaggerated? Is that a lie? Group leader, Yang Ju Xiaoyao didn't lie. Everyone. The atmosphere suddenly became a little subtle. Unnamed, Shadow 3 Lord Ju, you said before that there are 4 clones of King Huo Tian in the Eternal Forest, and their strength is above that of the 9th level God of War, right? Group leader, Shadow 9 Yes. Unnamed, Shadow 3 How many merits will be given to the God of War by killing him? Group leader, Shadow 9 1 million. Over the Eternal Forest, a terrifying aura suddenly erupted, strong winds swept through the entire forest, and countless frightened birds flew up. Unnamed, Shadow 3 left. Obviously, even the highest level existence in the shadow is about to be rolled up. Weak woman, Shadow 1 The remaining 2 can't escape anyway. Who will deal with Master Ju and King Huo, who escaped and attacked the second child? Group leader, Shadow 9 Shuro will solve it. Bad woman, Film 2 I don't believe it. First, she didn't believe that Shura dared to face such a terrifying King Huo. Secondly, she didn't believe that Shura could deal with King Huo Tian. Group leader, Shadow 9 I will give him a price he can't refuse. The old godfather belongs to him. The discussion about Shura and Madman Huo has come to an end. Ye Bai finished the remaining classes and finally returned to his dormitory. When he was idle before, he took a rough inventory of all the gains from this trip. Kill monsters, work with Shadow 10 to kill the 9th level God of War, collect wool from De Menzi, withdraw money from Lao Su. Adding up these bits and pieces, it amounts to 600,000 God of War meritorious deeds. SSS level missions cost 10,000 God of War merits, and Shadow 10 advancement costs 140,000. The ore and various materials Ye Bai left behind to build the fortress were exchanged for 30,000 God of War merits in total, including the 20,000 that Ye Bai had in hand before departure. 60 add 1 add 14 add 3 add 2 equal 800,000 God of War merits. How rich is Ye Bai? He even dared to ignore the 3 digits after the decimal point. Eye of Insight gives detailed numerical results. 803146.25. There is still a sum of money that has not arrived. Ye Bai calculated carefully. Lan Lao agreed to set up a temporary research team to study the situation of suturing the abyss. Ye Bai made a huge contribution to scientific research. This money will take some time to arrive. With a huge sum of 800,000 yuan in hand, Ye Bai suddenly felt that it was worth it. It was all worth it. He was almost killed again and again, wandering between life and death again and again, and his blood volume even dropped to 1 point. Even though he failed to return with full health, Ye Bai went through many hardships and difficulties, and finally turned them into precious wealth in life. One word, cool. The money has basically arrived, Ye Bai secretly thought in his heart. There is still some time before 12 o'clock. Let's continue to strengthen the Eternal Sea. I don't know how much it will cost. Ye Bai's Eternal Sea, due to the curse of the sea god, costs 2 cents to get 1 point of effect. Before, Master Ju had prepared 2 complete materials for him, but this was far from enough. Ye Bai is still short of 2 portions, so he has to spend his own money to buy them. Contacted the Goblin brother, and the 2 made an appointment to meet in the trading secret realm. Fourth brother, congratulations on getting rich. When the Goblin boy saw his long-lost fourth brother online, he knew a big deal was coming. When Ye Bai made the shopping list, the Goblin boy was a little stunned. Hiss. The Goblin boy looked over the list twice and asked seriously, do you want everything on this? Yes, too. Ye Bai nodded and said domineeringly, There is no shortage of money now. The Goblin Boy was full of admiration and took out a POS machine. One copy is about 150,000 God of War merits, and 2 copies are 300,000. The fourth brother pays with credit card or cash. 300,000, why is it so expensive? Yeah, Bibi felt numb. Has there been inflation since you left Blue Star? Fourth brother, these materials of yours are the top materials for opening up the Eternal Sea. One piece you sell is less than the other, and the quantity you ask for is too much. The Goblin Boy was also helpless. Wanwu Pavilion has always been a childlike and trustworthy person when doing business. If anyone else said this, Yebai wouldn't believe it. Knowing that the most powerful person behind the Wanwu Pavilion was Xiaoyao, Yebai believed it. Third brother, I really have no interest in money. That's it, fourth brother. The Goblin Boy first listed the prices of all the materials and explained carefully. Originally, these materials can be obtained with about 100,000 God of War merits. Why can't he understand? The Goblin Boy pointed to the last line and explained. If someone travels for 10 years for 1,000 God of War merits, and when he comes back, he finds that the price of the thing he originally wanted to buy has increased, which is equivalent to working for nothing for 10 years, I am afraid he will run away on the spot. There must be a way to remedy it, there must be a bug that can cause it to get stuck. The 9th level God of War, killed in vain, lost blood. Before going to the abyss, Shura was not even level 200. Hateful. Swipe your card. He pointed to a rule and said excitedly. According to what the Goblin brother said, Master Ju prepared 2 pieces of materials for Yebai, worth 200,000 merits. Yebai gritted his teeth angrily. Who was behind this, causing the God of War in the shadow to start to involuntarily turn around? This provision is to protect the interests of long-term task executors. But starting from this afternoon, for some reason, the high-level experts in the shadows were shopping like crazy, and the price of shadow-type materials more than doubled. You are trying to cheat me, Shura, out of money. I won't agree. There is a shadow element in Shura's Eternal Sea, so there is a lot of demand for the shadow element. Yebai took out a few stacks of thick books from the storage space and began to study them one by one to see if there was any way to save money. If Yebai knew about it, he would not be as good as this guy. I do know this rule. Listening to Shura talking to himself almost out of control, the Goblin Boy fell into silence. Performing S-level or above missions or the mission period is longer than half a year. Faced with the Goblin Boy's doubts, Yebai smiled crookedly, took out the card generously and slightly painfully, his voice trembled slightly, and uttered 2 words. How can it be? Yebai suddenly had to spend 300,000 merit points to buy something that he could originally get with 200,000 God of War merit points. He always felt like his heart was bleeding. But there is a consumption limit here, 50% of the mission harvest. Yebai really found it? The merits of 100,000 war gods, the loss of blood, just killed a few 9th level war gods in vain. Yes. 400,000 God of War merits, a 9th level God of War 36,000, even killing 10 of them is not enough. He was also affected by this price increase. Fourth brother, if you want to buy something worth 200,000 God of War merits, you must have at least 400,000 God of War merits officially recorded in your account. Earn 400,000 God of War merit in one mission? The upper limit of consumption amount, 50% of the harvest from this mission. It's a bit like being treated like a grandson. Even Shura can't do such a terrifying thing. After the mission executor returns to Blue Star, he has the right to make a purchase at the price during the mission. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 253. Swipe your card. How much courage does it take to say these two words? Yep, I just did this. He felt that he was so brave at this moment. Even if King Huo Tian appears in front of him, Ye Bai dares to make gestures. The goblin boy took the card, entered the corresponding restrictions, and gave it a try. Amount available for consumption, 310,254 God of War merit points. Goblin boy. He never expected that Shuro would not earn 400,000 yuan during this trip, but more than 600,000 yuan. Then, get 200,000 God of War merits. When the goblin boy said these words, his heart trembled slightly. This is not 200,000 dragon coins, nor is it 200,000 gold coins. 200,000 God of War merits. How many chicken legs can I buy? No. Ye Bai shook his head, pointed to his list of materials and asked. How much does the total of the film materials above cost before the price increases? The goblin boy answered honestly, 100,000. He had an ominous premonition. The man in front of me always bursts out with amazing energy when he spends his own money. In other words, Shura always has a problem with spending money. Here he comes, with some cool tricks to save money. Ye Bai continued to ask. I have a quota of 310,000, and I can purchase film materials at the lowest price within 7 days, right? The goblin boy nodded, yes. Okay, this 310,000 will be used to buy film materials. Ye Bai made a final decision and said. I will use 100,000 for myself, and sell the materials for 210,000 in Wanwu Pavilion. He just calculated it all. Due to the popularity of film-based materials, the price of film-based materials originally priced at 100,000 yuan increased to 200,000 yuan, and Ye Bai's total expenses also increased from 200,000 yuan to 300,000 yuan. Relying on the principle of minimum consumption, Ye Bai bought 310,000 yuan of materials, and the extra 210,000 yuan can be sold for 420,000 yuan after the price increase. That is to say, after this operation, Ye Bai spent a total of 310,000 yuan on film-based materials, 100,000 on water-based materials, and 410,000 yuan on expenses. 210,000 film materials can be sold for 420,000. 42 minus 41 equal 1. Make a small profit of 10,000 God of War merit. This little goblin boy has never seen this operation before. It's equivalent to expanding the eternal sea. I didn't spend a penny and I still earned 10,000. Is this okay? Hurry up, this kind of bug will only exist for a short time. Ye Bai urged. If Master Ju finds out that I am stuck with this bug, I will definitely have to patch it. At this moment, Ye Bai was extremely grateful to the person who increased the price of film materials. You are a good person. It was me, Ye Bai, who misunderstood you before. He is simply my half-brother. The goblin boy first spent 410,000 God of War merits and helped Ye Bai buy the materials. Following Ye Bai's instructions, he put the excess film-related materials up for sale. In order to promote sales, Ye Bai specially offered a small discount, slightly lower than the market price. There is no doubt that as soon as these things appeared in the Wanwu Pavilion, they were immediately swept away. Current balance, 804,631.25. Ye Bai put away the cards and materials with satisfaction and said in a good mood. To be honest, this is the first time that the more I spend, the more happiness I have. Thank you, Master Ju. If this matter had nothing to do with Master Ju, Ye Bai would not believe it even to death. Let's go, see you later. Goblin brother. He stayed where he was and watched Ye Bai leave. Less than 5 minutes later, a solemn statement came from Shadow Castle. Severely crack down on the speculation of film-based materials. In order to maintain a good market environment, Shadow Castle will increase production capacity and provide everyone with film-based materials at normal prices. With this announcement, the price of film materials fell, and the prices of many materials returned to normal. In other words, if Yabai was 5 minutes late, he wouldn't be able to get this bug. Zhao Qian, the little goblin brother and the master of Wanwu Pavilion, clicked on a panel. As the actual controller of Wanwu Pavilion, he has the authority to query and read every transaction record in the background. Film-related materials have skyrocketed inexplicably, and a large number of them are shipped on the market. After the shipment is completed, the prices are immediately reduced. The little goblin squinted his eyes slightly, like a shark smelling blood, and his interest was high. After this combination of punches, the master is behind the wheel. Tens of millions of transaction records flashed quickly in front of the goblin boy's eyes, and countless pieces of information were put together into a huge puzzle in his mind, depicting the truth. All clues point to one account, Shadow 9. Hiss. The goblin boy took a deep breath and calculated silently. Master Ju has earned at least tens of millions of God of War merits this time. Soon, another question appeared in the goblin brother's mind. Master Ju wants so much money, is he making a big move? The goblin boy shook his head, this was not a question he should consider. No matter what, if the sky falls, the boss will carry it. This day, his boss has been carrying it for 36 years. Eternal Tower, exclusive space. When Yabai appeared, the crowd burst into exclamations. Master, you are finally back. Dracula hid the drumstick behind his back and stepped forward, with tears in his eyes and sincerity. He thought of 9 ways to say it, but, to welcome the return of the master. Stop talking nonsense, how are you doing? Yabai looked around and found that there were not many people at home, so he felt relieved. Everyone briefly reported the situation and everything was as usual. The mines and mushroom forests are all in order to create SSS-level equipment services, and everything is in an orderly manner without any abnormalities. Yabai's previous backup plan didn't take effect either. Okay, then give me all the prince-level essence and blood. In front of Dracula, everyone took out a vial and returned it to Yabai. There were thousands of drops of prince-level blood essence in total. This blood essence is enough to turn a vampire prince into a mummy. The same, is enough for Dracula to return to the princely state. Dracula? There is so much essence and blood hidden around him, and yet he, an idiot, only thinks about eating chicken legs. He felt like he missed a 50 billion lottery ticket. According to Yabai's arrangement, if something goes wrong with Master Fool, the blood essence will be given to Dracula to help him regain his strength. This is the limit that Yabai can do. If the prince-level Dracula cannot protect everyone, the only thing Yabai can do is to ask Xiaoao to take action when he comes back. The heart to guard against evil spirits is indispensable. Fortunately, it was calm and nothing happened. At this moment, Dracula wanted to drag Master Fool and ask, "Why don't you jump back when you're riding a horse?" TNND. Why not jump? Dracula once thought about this question, what trump card Shura hid? He calculated everything, but he failed to calculate that the trump card was actually himself. Dracula quickly adjusted his mentality and was even in the mood to make a small report. By the way, Master Fool has been in a bad mood these past 2 days. Maybe it's because of his emotional cycle. Yabai. I can't fix it anymore. Yabai had no choice but to pat him on the shoulder and encourage him. Work hard, this blood and essence will be yours from now on. Dracula nodded like a chicken pecking at rice, okay. Throw the materials you bought without money into the Shura Sea and wait for the other party to digest them slowly. These materials are very precious and hard won, so Shura Hai eats them first. Shurahagwang needs 12 hours to digest the materials. Today's Shura Sea is like a quiet small lake, with a light red color on the surface. Regardless of grade or scale, at level 200, they are the top existences. After doing all this, Yebai looked at the time -11:57. There are 3 minutes left, go back and say hello to Master Ju. Back in the dormitory, before Yebai could say anything, Master Ju said first. Boy, we have finished breaking through the barrier today. If you want to survive, don't come back in a hurry. Yebai reacted immediately, are you going to find King Huo Tian? Master Ju said while sharpening the knife. Well, keeping it will be a disaster after all. I'd better cut it off sooner rather than later. You're tired. Master Ju understands Yebai's character very well. As long as he is told that this matter is life-threatening, Yebai will never do it. Without the protection of Yingju, Yebai would never return to Blue Star from the Eternal Tower in advance. Dong. The bell rang, 12 o'clock sharp. Yebai greeted, if nothing happens, I'll go brush up on the 5 score first. Get out of here. Master Ju felt that if this boy stayed for one more second, he would be unable to help but kill someone. Brush. A flash of white light flashed. Yebai returned to the familiar Eternal Core City. Without wasting any time, he directly summoned the Eternal Core Crystal and pressed it with his palm. Target, 20th floor. A white light flashed, and a familiar sound sounded in Yebai's ears. I wish you can clear the Eternal Tower as soon as possible. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 254. The Eternal Tower. 20th floor. The salty sea breeze blew in the face, white light flashed, and Yebai's figure appeared on the smooth ground. He easily stabilized his body and looked at the gray-white ground beneath his feet. Before entering the 20th floor, Yebai had read the guide. The story background of this copy is not complicated. There is a small village on a certain ice field, which has been fishing for generations and is isolated from the world. The whale is the totem they worship. One day when he went fishing, villager Norman met an injured little whale. After going through many hardships, he rescued the little whale from a sea monster and found a way to bring it back to the village for treatment. Although this incident was outrageous, as the background of the story, Yebai could only complain silently in his heart. The rescued whale returned to its home in the ocean after a short stay. The good times did not last long, the ice sheet ushered in the cold wind of death, the living environment became worse and worse, and there were fewer and fewer fish in the sea. Hungry and cold, the fishermen were forced to a desperate situation. At this time, the fishermen gathered together and prayed to the village totem, praying to God to give them a way to survive. The whales heard their prayers and were ready to answer. And the rescued whale was right at Yebai's feet. Its name was very simple, Blue. Bulu Bulu. Huge bubbles emerged from the bottom of the water. Even without the eye of insight, Yebai could understand what Blue meant. Kind traveler, can you take me back to the village near the extremely cold ice field? This is my last wish. Blue is a blue whale. Do you want to accept the mission? Blue whale Blue's commission. Yebai fell into silence and did not answer immediately. In front of him, the exploration speeds of the 3 camps appeared. Exploration degree of the Arctic Village Camp, 0%. Exploration degree of Blue Whale Blue Camp, 0%. Exploration degree of Fisherman Norman Camp, 0%. The 3 camps have completely different ways of obtaining exploration. They can even be said to be completely opposite. It is almost impossible to achieve 100% in both camps. Yebai analyzed carefully. The exploration degree of the Arctic village is very simple, and it solves the dilemma of life and death for them, cold and hunger. The solution is also very simple, but very cruel. Bring Blue Whale near the ice field, and Blue Whale Blue who is dying will take his own life. The death of a whale has another name, whale fall. When a whale falls, everything comes alive. The blood of the whale will dispel the curse of winter, and the fish that rely on whale falls will feed the fishermen in the extremely cold villages. Very cruel, and extremely cruel in the face of survival. As long as Blue is brought there smoothly, the score will be calculated and the exploration degree will be calculated based on the final completion status. This is the Arctic Village Camp. Blue Whale Blue's exploration degree is divided into two parts. In the first part, it wants to repay the life-saving grace and use its dying self to do something for the fishermen in the extremely cold village. Send the other party a whale fall to repay the favor. Help Blue complete this task and gain 50% exploration. The second part is to complete the agreement with Fisherman Norman. Fisherman Norman was the one who originally rescued Blue. According to legend, there is a Sea of Life. Bringing back seawater from the Sea of Life can completely resolve the ice sheet's extreme cold curse and restore life to the ice sheet. Norman wants to find the Sea of Life, but he is a mortal after all, and there is definitely no hope on his own. When he was chatting with Blue, he told him about his dream. The speaker has no intention, the listener has intention. Blue took note of it. Take Blue to the Sea of Life to gain another 50% exploration rate. But the problem happens to appear here. Yabai faces a tricky situation, the Sea of Life, the extremely cold village, in two different directions. At this time, Blue Whale Blue has been seriously injured, and its life can only support it to choose one direction to move forward. Whether it can reach the end is another question. If you choose the Sea of Life, Blue will most likely fall before the end and can only take its remains to the Sea of Life. General treatments are ineffective for Blue. It was so badly injured that it needed something precious to heal it. Many soft-hearted people couldn't bear Blue to die and tried their best to bring him to the Sea of Life. Even if he succeeds, Blue will die in the Sea of Life. The seawater of the Sea of Life has no therapeutic effect. The plot on the 20th floor is all related to Blue Whale Blue. Yabai's top priority is to revive it first, and then consider how to choose a direction and increase the exploration speed. If you don't solve the problem of Blue's serious injury, everyone else will be blind. As Yabai focused his gaze, more information prompts popped up. Rescue method, source of life 15L. Yabai raised his eyebrows, 15 liters. Where can he find 15 liters of the source of life? The only source of life in his hands was donated by Yabai almost for free. Yabai harvested 100 L of the source of life on the third floor. Brother Lizard drank 50 L. When he broke through the level, etc. An idea flashed in Yabai's mind. Did Brother Lizard drink 50 L of the source of life? How could he forget this? The lizard brother himself was not very strong. He also said at the time that he just drank the water and stored it. Brother Lizard, Wabababu. Yabai. Yabai, drink. Yabai, Wabi Babu. Blue, how about you take a sip first? Soon, with the help of the Eye of Insight, Yabai completed the communication with Brother Lizard. As Yabai thought, the lizard brother who was basking in the moon beside the mine suddenly appeared on top of the blue whale. Set off. Okay, the first step to fixing the bug is completed. At his command, the three-headed hell dog stuffed the keg into Blue's mouth, and dark version source of life began to take effect. Stop throwing up, stop throwing up. Does that mean? Yabai now needs to do another thing, save Blue the whale. Be good, open your mouth and drink the source of life. 15 L of pitch black liquid was spat out by it. Yabai sat cross-legged on Blue, pointed forward and said, Lizard brother. And after Medusa's curse is lifted, Brother Lizard no longer needs the source of life to fight the curse. Yabai asked the three-headed hell dog to carry the bucket, and stood in the distance to persuade him. Yabai stopped the lizard brother. If you vomit again, people will mistakenly think you can vomit oil, and a helicopter will land and arrest you. Blue, bulu bulu, bula bulu. Is this the source of life or oil? During this period of time, I lived a comfortable life eating and drinking by. Dark edition source of life is available. 10 minutes later, Blue's injuries were completely recovered. By advised, I don't know how many people eat, drink, and defecate in the sea every year, and there are even immoral things that discharge wastewater. You dare to drink seawater, so what's the point? By said seriously, borrow 40 liters first. It smells so bad. It came out of a lizard's mouth. I don't want to drink it. Think on the bright side. Brother lizard, I don't know how serious it is. It does have a little bit of life left in it, just over 40 liters. Target, the sea of life. Vomit. By placed a small bucket in front of Brother Lizard, and Brother Lizard opened his mouth. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjaya Old Thief. Chapter 255. Sitting on Blue Whale Blue's back, Bai continued to study Ruoka's 5 score. 3 camps, Arctic Village, Blue Whale Blue, Villager Norman. Norman has 2 wishes. 1. Blue Whale Blue can survive well and his exploration rate at 50%. 2. Dispel the extreme cold curse of the extreme cold ice field, and increase the exploration speed by 50%. The curse of the extremely cold ice field needs the blood of Blue Whale to dispel it. Bai reorganized all the prompts and quickly discovered the problem. Winter curse, extreme cold curse. There are 2 different curses on the extremely cold ice field. Blue Whale Blue's blood can only dispel the current winter curse and free the extremely cold village from its temporary predicament. The real problem in the extreme cold ice field is the extreme cold curse hidden deep in the ice field. As long as the curse of extreme cold exists, the current situation of thousands of miles of frozen ice fields will not be fundamentally improved. At this point in solving the problem, another contradiction arises. There is a strict sequence for breaking the curse. If you want to solve the extreme cold curse, you must first break the winter curse. How to crack the winter curse? Blue Whale's blood. The solution to the extreme cold curse, the sea water of the sea of life. Bai rubbed his temples and felt a slight headache. In other words, to fulfill Norman's second wish, Blue Whale must die. According to all the information Bai currently has, the contradictions in the requirements of the 3 camps appear here. If I take Blue to the Sea of Life first and take the water from the Sea of Life, then return to the Arctic village, use Blue's blood and the water of the Sea of Life to break the curse, and solve the fisherman's food problem. According to this approach, Bai's final exploration degree will be Arctic village, 100%. Blue Whale Blue, 100%. Villager Norman, 50%. The problem lies with Norman. He wants Blue Whale to survive and also wants to completely break the curse. Looking at the blue sea, Bai roughly had an idea. If you want to fix the bug on the 20th floor, the key is to find another way. How to completely solve the curse, food, and other problems encountered by the village without sacrificing Blue the Blue Whale. Although there is no correct answer yet, Bai feels confident. Isn't it just a card bug? Do it. Let's go to the Sea of Life first and get the sea water first. With the treatment of the source of life, Blue Whale, who has recovered completely, is moving forward at a terrifying speed. In less than half an hour, it brought Bai to the Sea of Life. Is this the Sea of Life? Bai looked at the blue water in front of him, which was unremarkable. It is worth mentioning that the 20th floor is an extremely rare dungeon that does not require combat. The role played by the player is only to solve the dilemma. During the entire clearance process, there are no monsters or enemies. It is more like a battle between man and nature. Bilub bilub. After making a joyful cry, the blue whale Blue swims in the Sea of Life. During the puffing and puffing, the water jets sprayed out can be up to 10 meters high. Complete the agreement between Blue Whale and Norman. Blue Whale Blue Camp exploration speed add 50%. Yabai was thinking about another question. According to the experience of clearing the level 10, most of the strongest people who have cleared the level before will leave traces. I have reached the Sea of Life, and there is no sign of it yet. It doesn't look like the style of the eldest brother, second brother, or third brother. Putting aside the third brother's Iao. There are very few people in this world who know what it means to act carefree. Compared with Xiaoyao, Nightmare, and Wuhan's actions are more traceable. A caring and warm man, and a grumpy old man. As Blue Whale was swimming in the Sea of Life, Yabai temporarily stood on the three-headed hell dog, suspended in mid-air. He suddenly felt that the scene on the bottom of his feet looked familiar, as if he had seen it somewhere before. A little higher. Under Yabai's command, the three-headed hell dog rose hundreds of meters, enough for Yabai to overlook the entire Sea of Life. This is fuck. After seeing the full view of the Sea of Life, Yabai rarely cursed. Isn't this horse riding a sign of love? If you draw the edge of the Sea of Life on paper, congratulations, you will get a very ugly and technical heart. There is no suspense, produced by Nightmare. I can't say they are very similar, I can only say they are exactly the same. Yabai calculated everything, but he didn't expect that the Sea of Life was related to Nightmare's. Nightmare was among the first people to enter the Eternal Tower that year, and the fastest to break through. In other words, only Nightmare knows what the level initially looks like. Some levels may have been broken by Nightmare a long time ago, and latecomers know nothing about it. For example, the Sea of Life in front of Yabai. I am afraid that only a handful of people in the entire human race know the secret. Has the Sea of Life been transformed by Nightmares? You can see the whole picture clearly if you are far away. Get close enough to see the essence clearly. Well, Yabai never expected that the eye of insight could not be awakened for a long time, and he would actually learn philosophy. But this tip does work. Now that Yabai has seen the whole picture of the Sea of Life, it's time to dive into it and see if there are any overlooked details. Thinking of this, Yabai jumped off the back of the three-headed hell dog. The three-headed hell dog took the initiative to take a deep breath and inflate itself into a balloon. At the same time, it held Yabai with its limbs, acting as a parachute to buffer and slow down. Landing firmly on Blue Whale's back, Yabai prepared to enter the sea. Before entering the Sea of Life, Yabai warned Blue, no urination anywhere. Blue. Yabai, who was at the bottom of the sea, took a deep breath of cold water. He was in shock and couldn't calm down for a long time. I really want to learn this. Hiss. This is unreasonable. Norman, I took Blue and searched for the Sea of Life for a long time but could not find it. I can even say responsibly that I have searched all over the sea area. It seems that the Sea of Life is just a legend. Sorry brother, maybe I'm going to disappoint you. Brother, how did you do it? Is this reasonable? Don't say the most awesome things in the most bland tone. Yabai took the waterproof shooting equipment that he had prepared long ago and started a new round of collecting the dark history of Nightmares. Is this a blessing of being the first to enter the Eternal Tower, or is it a curse? To be honest, without this mark, it would be a bit difficult for me to move this sea. The taste is right. Oh, by the way, I recently discovered a new secret. Just kidding. Thump. Nightmare has mastered the mark of the strongest from the first day he entered the Eternal Tower. Except for me, other players don't seem to get the mark of the strongest when they enter the Eternal Tower. On the other side of the mark of the strongest, something seems to be awakening, which makes me feel very uneasy. This is more important than passing the level. Yabai continued to look down. A level 200 Nightmare was able to permanently create a Sea of Life in the dungeon based on Norman's dream. Yabai looked at the last paragraph of Nightmare's message. The amount of information inadvertently revealed in this passage is simply too great. I'm a little hesitant whether I should continue to explore this tower. I can't write anymore, so that's it. I did not find the Sea of Life, but since there is the sea in your dreams, I moved it out. On the stone are familiar words, from a nightmare. Under the prompt of the Eye of Insight, Yabai saw a stone. Seeing this, Yabai frowned slightly. This was not like his elder brother's style. It's something a nightmare can do. Descent 1,200 meters. Yabai plunged down, his whole body sank into the sea water, and his body swam downstream quickly. The signature is still the familiar ugly love. Yabai. Go straight for 100 meters, the destination will be on your left. Turn left 30 degrees. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 256. Nightmare actually mastered the mark of the strongest from the beginning. This news was like a bolt from the blue. Even though Yabai was immune to lightning, he was silenced for a few seconds. The mark of the strongest does not require level 1000 to master. Yabai first learned about the powerful mark from Lan Lao. Master Ju didn't want to talk more. He wanted the mark of the strongest to do something big, but he couldn't tell Yabai about it. Once he learned the truth, Yabai would never agree. Xiaoao felt that there was nothing to talk about, and he understood everything. This created an embarrassing situation. Yabai could only rely on guessing about everything about the mark of the strongest. The only thing that is certain now is, the mark of the strongest is important. The threshold for mastering the most powerful mark is lower than Yabai imagined. The Sea of Life was moved out of the dream by nightmares. The sea water here cannot be taken away by ordinary means. There is only one way. Blue Whale Blue was having so much fun in the Sea of Life that he didn't even notice that the devil was quietly targeting him. Brew, you are a mature blue whale. Yabai said softly with a smile on his face. Only you can take away the water from the Sea of Life. Do you understand what I mean? Blue nodded. Blue, then I take a sip of water and then hold my breath and swim back. What are you thinking about? Your lungs will explode. Yabai said kindly. I have a good idea and I need your cooperation to bring back as much water as possible from the Sea of Life. Blue's voice was full of joy. Really? I will definitely cooperate. In front of Yabai, Blue was as simple as a blank sheet of paper. Three-headed dog of hell, it started, he's starting to lose his temper again. You take a sip of water, and when it spurts out, I will help you guide the sea water back, and you can drink it again. Yabai said seriously. In this way, you can go back with the most sea water. Just like a person always breathing the same breath of air. Yabai will help Blue solve the oxygen problem. Blue has to drink the water he spits out over and over again until he reaches the extreme cold ice field and uses the sea water of the Sea of Life to lift the extreme cold curse. The water cycle belongs to Yes. It seems like this is the only way. Although he always felt that something was not right, Blue felt that what the other party said was quite right. This is indeed a solution. Yabai circled the Sea of Life twice to make sure that he had not missed any details. The area here has been explored. Yabai directed Blue to move towards the extremely cold ice field. Set off. Riding the wind and waves, on the sea as wide as the sea, a blue whale is moving forward while performing a large water cycle. Yabai cheered on the sidelines. It's almost there, there are still 20 kilometers to go. Standing in mid-air, Yabai could already see the distant villages, nearly 100 households, most of the ships parked at the pier, and people hiding in igloos, silently enduring hunger and cold. Brew, you play here for a while, and I'll go see what's going on ahead. Leaving the three-headed hell dog to watch Blue, Yebai sent the black tiger to explore the way for him. Although there is no danger in this level. However, everything is possible. Be careful to sail the ship of eternity. After making sure it was safe, Yebai slowly landed and arrived outside the village. "Excuse me, do you have a village chief or clan chief here?" Yebai asked politely through a door. "There's a village chief, his name is Norman, he's in the first igloo to the south, but I'm not sure if he's still alive." After getting the news, Yebai quickly found Norman's igloo. This is also the only igloo that is willing to open the door for him and welcome him. "Stranger, you shouldn't be here." Norman was white-haired, old, skinny, and his arms were no thicker than a tree branch. He huddled under the quilt and said tremblingly, "This is a cursed place, there is no escape." Yebai didn't talk nonsense, "I'm here just to break the curse. I want to know, besides whale blood, what can be used instead to break the winter curse. Where did you learn about this?" Norman was a little surprised, but he didn't hide it and said bluntly, "Actually, what is needed is not the blood of the whale, but enough warm blood. The greedy monsters hidden under the ice sheet have a huge demand for blood every once in a while. If it is not met, the whole world will enter a cold winter." As he spoke, Norman pointed to the sea. "The creatures in the sea are almost extinct, and many people in our village have died. Whales, that's just a legendary creature. There are no whales in the world, so don't waste your efforts. Enough blood." Before coming, Yebai had considered various options. How to avoid hurting Blue and lift the village's winter curse. Now it seems that there is no need to bother at all. Isn't it just blood? Yebai doesn't have it, it doesn't mean that his men don't have it. Wait a minute. As Yebai spoke, a wisp of fire appeared on his fingertips and fell in front of Norman, making his whole body warm and indescribably comfortable. Before Norman could exclaim, the next second, a nobleman wearing luxurious clothes and enjoying grace appeared in front of him. If you ignore the flattery on the other party's face, even if he says that this nobleman is a king, Norman will believe it. This temperament and appearance are perfect. But he showed a traitorous face. Dracula said enthusiastically, "Great master, do you have any need for the services of your humble servant Dracula?" "Have. The existence hidden under the ice sheet longs for blood. But Dracula's blood is cold. You say. It all feels good. Dracula, cold. How about bleeding Dracula first, cooking Dracula with his blood, and turning the original soup into the original food, without wasting any of it? In a physical sense. Obviously, Dracula has a clear understanding of Yebai. Your servant's passion will surely lead to the glory of loyalty. Although it is a warm-blooded animal, it likes to keep its body temperature stable at -2 degrees Celsius on weekdays. This kind of blood is the most beautiful. This is not easy to handle. But I can actively raise the temperature of my blood." Yebai said helplessly, "I just want to know whether the blood is hot or cold." Dracula's heart, "I'm just being polite, but I'm going to be exploited again." Yebai pointed at Blue Whale Blue in the distance and said kindly, "To boil Dracula and bleed it? I would like to ask an academic question. Dracula, please be a human being. Even if it's just a pretense. Not much, 10 tons is enough." Dracula's mouth twitched and he said impassionedly. Yebai patted Dracula on the shoulder and said kindly, "Is vampire blood hot or cold?" In front of Yebai, there are two solutions. "Can you bleed a little?" Yebai ignored his inner complaints and asked, "I have a heartfelt request." Dracula. As if sensing someone's evil thoughts, Dracula trembled all over and said first, "The demon lord will never let go of any opportunity to exploit himself." Dracula wanted to refuse, but when the words came to his lips, he became serious again. Yebai hesitated for a moment and couldn't make up his mind. One after Dracula bled, he boiled the blood. If I had told you earlier, I would have almost put you on a rack and roasted you. Which one is better? You tell me. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 257. Iron, water, chicken legs. Blood replenishing 3-piece set. Yabai had already prepared for Dracula, which was very considerate. Dracula's face was full of despair, he had already accepted his fate, and even asked actively. Master, what is the appropriate blood temperature? Yabai thought for a moment, 105 degrees? Ahem, I mean 55 degrees is fine. All right. Dracula's expression was blank for a few seconds, and then he spoke again, okay. Master, as an emotionless vampire. Can I ask, what do you need so much blood for? You can ask. Yabai nodded. I do not want to answer. Dracula. While the two were talking, the village chief Norman took the two to a port. Norman pointed to the frozen port and said, this is where the blood flows away. That being, has a huge appetite. Dracula raised an eyebrow. Extraordinary thirst for blood, needing a lot of blood, greed, even insatiable greed. He is familiar with this. Isn't this talking about vampires? Is there an ancient and powerful vampire sealed under the ice? Dracula immediately reminded. Master, I don't feel sorry for myself at all. However, providing blood to a seriously injured vampire is definitely not a wise act. Especially with such high-quality blood. To put it bluntly, Dracula is definitely a high-quality vampire duke. It's rare for you to really consider it once. Very good, very good. Yabai patted Dracula on the shoulder again. This action made Dracula feel like his soul was trembling. This habitual action of the demon lord means that nothing good will happen next. He's going to stop doing human things again. I have also considered the issue you mentioned. Yabai pointed at the ice layer and said, do you have a way to detect that existence? Dracula shook his head. If Norman hadn't told him, he wouldn't have seen anything special about the ice. Now it's right. Yabai continued. The ice field is his home court. If he doesn't come out, even I can't do anything to him. A trap always has a bait. Apparently, Dracula is the bait. Dracula argued with reason and protested. Master, even if you need bait, there is no need to release 10 tons of blood. I mean, that's almost it. Yabai took out something from his storage ring. I have already considered this. Before you bleed, you should eat something to replenish your body. Dracula took a closer look. What Yabai held in his hand was a poisonous mushroom. Of course, this kind of mushroom will not poison Dracula, but the toxin will spread throughout the body through the blood, greatly weakening the combat effectiveness. That is to say, after eating poisonous mushrooms, Dracula's blood becomes highly poisonous. Supplements turn into tribute instantly. The more greedy the guys under the ice are, the more they devour, and when the toxin breaks out, the stronger the backlash they receive. How to cover up the toxins in the blood, you don't need to be taught by Yabai, Dracula knows how to do it himself. After hearing Shura's complete plan, Dracula wanted nothing more than to applaud it. Wonderful! Wonderful! As expected of you, Demon Lord. Yabai even greeted Dracula warmly and placed a bunch of poisonous mushrooms in front of him. It's up to you to pick and see which flavors work best together. Dracula. The first time we met, before beheading, the person to be killed was asked to pick a knife that was convenient for him. Unacceptable. Dracula stepped forward and quickly selected the best combination, putting 4 poisonous mushrooms together. Fire poison plus petrification, plus the illusion of serious injury, it's almost enough. Everything's ready. After taking the 4 poisonous mushrooms one by one, Dracula's face turned extremely pale. Even though he had regained his strength as a duke, his body was shaking slightly when faced with the superposition of the four poisons. Yabai rolled his eyes and pointedly exposed Dracula's trick. Who are you pretending to show? The mushroom is still undigested in your stomach. Don't ink. Isn't this the pursuit of a sense of ritual? As he said this, Dracula's face turned green. This time he was really poisoned. At the same time, he skillfully cut his own aorta, allowing 55-degree hot blood to spurt out. Hot-blooded edition Vampire Duke Limited online. If you're a man, let out 10 tons of blood. Yabai turned his head away. He was bleeding and couldn't bear to see such a cruel scene. Blood dripped onto the ice, which melted immediately. The blood did not spread out, but flowed downward in a straight line without any waste. Apparently, that being couldn't resist the food that came to his door. Seeing that everything was on track, Yabai ordered. You take your time here, and I'll go for a walk on the ice field. Dracula had a chicken leg in his left hand and a piece of iron in his right hand. He took the time to nod back and said, "Don't worry." After watching Yabai leave, Dracula looked at the ice with deep eyes. Could it be you? You immortal thing, I can smell your putrid smell even through the ice. You are also trapped in endless reincarnation. GGG, I am looking forward to seeing what you look like now. In the distance, on the ice sheet. Subtitles appeared in front of Yabai's eyes. The subtitles reveal Dracula's inner thoughts and even include modal particles. Due to the existence of the soul contract, Eye of Insight can achieve this level. If it were anyone else, they wouldn't be treated like this. Yabai smiled and shook his head. This guy has never been honest. Apparently, Dracula may have known what existed beneath the ice. Yabai has been thinking about this issue since he learned that the other party was bloodthirsty. The three strongest men once speculated that the plot may be continuous at every 10th floor. He must have left something behind on the 20th floor. And the story that happened on the ice sheet may be a cycle of reincarnation for a period of time. Except for Yabai, there was no trace of any living creature on the ice sheet. Yabai raised his hands to cover the wind and snow, and looked forward. Yabai is not interested in what third brother Xiaoao did on the 20th floor. The blue whale fell again and again, and the extremely cold villages were on the verge of extinction again and again. He has seen the Sea of Life before, it was the work of his elder brother's nightmare. My thoughts were interrupted here. With this doubt, Yabai wandered on the endless ice field. This is just an instinct for map exploration that drives him to action. Yabai could only take one step at a time. Yabai stopped and looked down at the abyss beneath his feet. The ice sheet cracked in the middle. Both parties may come from the same place. Not just the canyon, but the ice sheet ahead was torn apart, as if someone had chopped it with a sharp weapon. When all reincarnations are broken and all the puzzle pieces are put together, what is the resulting pattern? But the story of Blue Whale Blue and Nightless Sky Castle don't seem to have the slightest connection. In terms of temperament, the second brother is very good at it. Looking at it this way, it's like a 10-piece puzzle stuck in the cycle of time. Only a 5 score can break the endless cycle. And the hidden boss in this level may know Dracula. I saw Yabai's familiar and violent handwriting written on the ice wall opposite. The story of Evernight Castle is the cycle of one day. Trying to deduce the full picture of the Eternal Tower based on this bit of information is tantamount to wishful thinking. Where is the second brother? Even the footsteps he left behind were soon covered by heavy snow. The secret behind these 10 copies plus the Zeroth floor may be the final secret of the Eternal Tower. My second brother, who is as pretentious as the wind and is always by my side, leaves no trace when he draws a sword, but leaves traces when someone passes by. Sudden. Yabai has only experienced 2 dungeons now, and there is still too little information. Just walking aimlessly on the boundless ice field, Yabai didn't know which direction his target was. As the second brother's biggest fan, Yabai had to find him. Until the existence under the ice sheet appeared, Yebai realized a possibility. A canyon more than 50 meters wide appeared in front of Yebai, and it was bottomless. There are words carved on the ice wall opposite. Why are you leaving so much nonsense? Just cut it off. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 258. Peel it. Two simple words reveal the nature of the second brother's irritable elder brother. It's Wuhan himself. Yebai rose into the sky, overlooking the broken ice field. Obviously, this is a remnant of a great war. The existence hidden under the ice sheet has ever fought against my second brother. Yebai felt that he could be bolder. He must have been hacked to death by his second brother. Dracula also enjoyed this treatment. When the second brother broke through the level, he was not as thoughtful as Nightmare, nor was he as careless as Xiaoyao. There is only one word for Wuhan: reckless. Dislike. Let's cut it with a sword. Monsters and monsters. Let's cut the sword. Yebai suspected that his second brother was the reincarnation of Pinzixi, and he wanted to cut everything he saw. Ah, no, it's a sword strike. Now that he found the traces left by his second brother, Yebai always felt that he was a bit sorry for his second brother if he didn't leave anything behind. After all, as the old saying goes, come all come. Having stacked 30 layers early and ready to go, Yebai raised up the power of nature. The heavenly king's sword on his waist trembled slightly and made a sword sound. All right. Yebai had no choice but to abandon the staff and adopt the sword. He couldn't become the strongest mage with a staff. Force of nature, so, love disappears, right? Yebai raised the heavenly king's sword high and shouted in a low voice. Thunder. His appearance and movements are quite akin to being at the age of 60 years, and he can be called a physical mage. In short, Yebai used the heavenly king's sword to release the thunder that was ready to go out, and struck hard on the broken ice field. Red lightning tore the sky apart and struck down hard. Countless arc lightnings were like rolling mountains, constantly passing over the broken ice fields. Thermal knowledge: water conducts electricity. Under Yebai's control, the sky thunder struck down as far as possible, trying to capture the existence hidden under the ice sheet. Every time the sky thunder goes down a certain distance, its power will be weakened a lot, which is obviously restricted by the rules here. Rumble. Continuous explosions came from the bottom of the ice field, and Yebai even heard a cold snort. Listen to the voice, at least 3 mature. A long distance away. Dracula, who was bleeding, was even in the mood to hum a ditty. How about you delete me? Suddenly, there was a flashing arc of electricity on the ice, which looked beautiful and dangerous at the same time. Dracula had an ominous premonition and just wanted to stop the bleeding. Late. The electric arc followed his gushing blood, climbing from the water to the aorta, giving Dracula a free electromagnetic pulse. Sizzling. Although not scientific. However, Dracula is really electrocuted this time. The majestic vampire duke was lying on the pier hard, his arteries still gushing with blood at 55 degrees, his body was twitching, and it was swinging in the physical sense. Dracula is so familiar with this thunder. I never dare to lie to you again, master. Dracula was weak and said intermittently. Go back, get me some lightning immunity, please. When Yebai came back, everything was as usual, except for Dracula's hairstyle. Yebai asked curiously. What happened? You suddenly changed your head to an afro. Dracula gave him a meaningful look and said with a slightly trembling voice. It's more in line with my temperament and mood. He was about to explode. Yebai nodded, as long as you are happy. It has nothing to do with me anyway. Taking advantage of Dracula's bloodletting, Yebai once again found the village chief Norman. You want to solve the problem of cold and hunger. Village chief Norman frowned and sighed after listening to Yebai's words. The winter curse can be dispelled, and the extreme cold curse can also be lifted. I believe in your strength. In fact, there was once a swordsman in black who did such a thing. Yebai. Element detection. The second brother used to wear black clothes. This is the first time Yebai knows this. The most troublesome thing is hunger. Village leader Norman explained, our only source of food is the sea, there is no other way. If the cold is lifted, couldn't you plant some crops? Yebai tried to persuade the village chief to change from a single economic model to diversified development. The village chief sighed heavily. This is a cursed land, any food you leave behind will rot in less than half a day. Seeds planted in soil cannot germinate no matter how much care they take. Our only hope. The village chief couldn't say anything else. Even if he didn't say it, Yebai understood. When the whale falls, all things come to life. Is this the only solution? At least for the past 100 years, during countless reincarnations of days and nights, the people on the ice sheet had only the solution. When everyone is starved to death, reincarnation will restart again. Norman will meet Blue Whale again, save him, and wait for him to repay his kindness. A whale fall will last for a while, everyone will die and then come back to life. This kind of reincarnation is the greatest torture. Cold, cruel, terrifying and chilling. Yebai came to the dock again and looked into the distance. Blue Whale is still playing with water, spitting it out and drinking it back. The three-headed hell dog rolled part of its body into a ball and let the blue whale play with it. A blue whale was suddenly trained into a dolphin. If it grows crooked, it belongs. I don't know who I learned it from. Yebai suddenly asked. If I give you an animal that can't eat at all, will that solve your problem? Norman was stunned, subconsciously feeling ridiculous. How could such a creature exist? I can't finish it no matter how much I eat, are you kidding me? Dracula, my ID number is. Dracula, who is wearing an afro, has an explosive mentality. Turn yourself into a pig and leave it to people in an Arctic village to solve the food problem? Although he knew that the demon lord was not a human being, not even a demon could do such a cruel thing. It is everyone's responsibility to care for vampire pigs. Yebai really couldn't do it. Dracula consumed so much vampire prince essence and blood and ate so many chicken legs to cultivate him. Now, it can be regarded as Yebai's #1 fighting force. Yebai couldn't bear it. Moreover, since Dracula is a key figure on the 10th floor, there are still mysteries about him that have not been solved, so it is still useful to keep them. Dracula also proved it time and time again. If he is dishonest, he is really dishonest, and if he is useful, he is really useful. The pig is your #1 tool. The nightmare wind trembled slightly, and Yebai floated up and flew forward. He stopped somewhere and looked down. This is where Blue chooses to land, and where Norman and Blue meet. Whether to play the history of the history, no viewing for those under 18 years old. Yebai raised his eyebrows. Obviously, there is no need to say who the person who adjusted the video is. Play. A scene with the theme of death and rebirth appeared in front of Yebai. The strange thing is that the clarity this time is extremely high, as if you are actually there. When a whale falls, everything comes alive. The scene of Blue's death was like a slow-motion camera, with every detail displayed in front of Yebai. Soon, the scene was accelerated again. Undersea creatures grow, prosper, and cycle endlessly. Whales fell again and again, and all things came to life again and again. They flew past Yebai's eyes and were reflected in his pupils, as if they were to be engraved on his soul. Endless shock and enlightenment, the ups and downs of countless thoughts, the origin and destruction of dependent thoughts, the birth and silence of thoughts. Suddenly, the picture suddenly paused, the whole world seemed to pause, and Yebai entered a mysterious state. An idea flashed in Yebai's mind, and something was caught by him. Thunder. The element of thunder appeared in front of Yebai's eyes. This was the element with which he had the highest affinity. Wind, fire, water, wood. Elements are arranged one after another, collide, fuse, and mix. What else is missing? Yabai whispered, shadow. After the last series of elements were added, a brand new elemental group appeared in front of Yabai, fell into his palm, and blended into his body. Time starts to flow. Yabai suddenly understood his second brother's happiness. He held the Heavenly King sword in his right hand and slowly drew it out. This sword. No, this is not a sword. Putting the Heavenly King's sword back, the formerly unruly Heavenly King's sword was unusually quiet at the moment. Yabai raised the power of nature and floated above the ice sheet, overlooking the land and ocean. He whispered to himself. Watch the whale fall, see the cycle of life and death, and understand the Dharma. The staff leaned forward slightly, and the power of countless elements surged out, as if to drain Yebai's mana. The sea of Shura loomed beside Yabai, forming a world of its own. Just the sound of a move caused countless disturbances. Dracula on the ground raised his head, a trace of fanaticism flashed in his eyes, staring at the godlike Shura. The power and level of this move are beyond Dracula's imagination. This is the master worthy of following. This Dharma is called. The world was silent, only Shura's voice echoed. All things are born. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjaya Old Thief. Chapter 259. Spring rain moistens things, summer is scorching, autumn wind is bleak, and winter trees rot. The four-seasons cycle, and reincarnation is endless, so that all things can come into being. With Yabai as the center of the circle, a drizzle fell under the influence of Shura, silently nourishing all things. All creatures, after release, switch effects between spring rain, summer flame, autumn wind, winter wood, chaos thunder, and samsara shadow. Spring rain, restores, 1000 add 3 * ability power, health per second, all friendly units health recovery speed add 30%, healing effect add 30%, damage received reduced by 30%, lasts up to 30 seconds. Xiaoyan, causes fire burning damage to the enemy every second, 1500 add 3 * ability power, the enemy takes add 30% damage, and lasts up to 30 seconds. Autumn wind, purify all current negative effects, movement speed add 30%, enemy movement speed minus 30%, lasts up to 30 seconds. Fuyuki, provides a high shield value. The shield value is, 30% of all damage taken in the past 12 seconds add 30% of all healing effects in the past 12 seconds. At the same time, the enemy receives minus 30% of the healing/shielding effect. The shield can exist at most 30 seconds. After all 4 seasons effects are activated, Chaos Thunder is unlocked. Chaos Thunder, deals 30%, all healing from seasonal effects and damage, true damage to a single enemy. If Chaos Thunder successfully kills the enemy, it can be released again without consumption, up to 3 times. After all the other 5 effects are activated, Samsara's Shadow will be unlocked. Shadow of Reincarnation, there is a 10% chance of re-releasing the life of all things without consumption. During the release of all creatures, every time an enemy is killed, the probability of this time is at 0.1%. Every time a friend is rescued, the probability of this time is at 0.1%, and the upper limit is increased by 20%. If the reincarnation shadow is successfully released, the effect of all creation will be at 30% next time. The above effects affect all targets within the Shura. All things are born. The skill strength is affected by the level of Shura high. The current influence coefficient is 30%. Consumption, 30% MP at 30% Jura high. Cooldown, 240 seconds, not affected by cooldown reduction. There are a total of 6 effects of Wan's Hung, which are released in 3 stages. The first stage, the cycle of seasons. At this stage, Yabai can choose to switch between spring, summer, autumn, and winter at will, and decide how long each effect lasts. He can make spring rainfall for 30 seconds, and summer, autumn, and winter disappear in the blink of an eye, or he can make the 4 seasons cycle normally and last for 120 seconds. After the 4 seasons cycle, enter the second stage, Chaos Thunder. Chaos Thunder can cause high amounts of real damage, and Yabai can release up to 4 Chaos Thunders. After the Chaos Thunder, comes the third stage, Samsara Shadow. When the probability of stacking is full, there is a 30% chance that you can get all creatures for free once, which is still a 30% enhancement of the effect of all creations. A comprehensive and powerful skill that integrates damage, treatment, and shield. Moreover, the strength of all creation is bound to the Shura C, and the current influence coefficient is only 30%. When the level of Shura C continues to increase, the intensity of all creation will naturally increase. The most important thing is that this is Yebai's sudden enlightenment skill. He finally came to his senses. Level 200, a full 200 levels. Does Master Ju know how he survived level 200? Finally it was Yebai's turn to have an epiphany. Under the power of nature, in spring, summer, autumn, and winter, Chaos Thunder explodes, the shadow of reincarnation emerges, and the 6 effect processes are completed. Yabai took back his staff and looked down. On the vast ice field, a green sprout emerged from the ice, shivering in the cold wind. This is. The Norman village chief's face was filled with shock. Terrifying energy erupted from his skinny body, and he ran on the ice field at the speed of an ordinary person. He knelt down in front of the green bud, kissed the soil in front of him, and breathed in the other person's breath. This is life, the life that brings them new life and hope. In an instant, I burst into tears and tears. Norman had never really believed it until this moment. This young man who has created miracles one after another may really be the savior. Yabai slowly landed on the ground, and Dracula was about to blow a rainbow fart. Shura's next words completely broke his defense. "Did you record the scene just now?" Dracula blurted out, "What? Do you still want to record this?" I was so shocked that it was extremely difficult to shout 666 in my heart. Unexpectedly, the master's requirements are so high. Even if you want to record, please give me a camera in advance. Yabai continued to ask. I heard that the vampire clan has a secret method that can engrave the scene you see and leave it in the river of blood. Master, that's a forbidden spell, it consumes a lot of money. Dracula carefully explained. My current strength. Understood. Yabai nodded thoughtfully. Then you'd better stay on the ice sheet. Dracula. One gritted one's teeth, one cruelty, one stamped one's feet. Dracula looked sad and forced himself to smile and said. How about you do it again and I can take pictures for you? After all, I still live my life according to my heart. Yabai snorted disdainfully. In your mind, am I such a formalist? Dracula's heart, yes. Dracula shook his head calmly, absolutely not. Pointing into the distance, Yabai taught him seriously, learn hard. Dracula looked in the direction Yabai pointed. On the blue waves, beside the blue whale, 3 dog shadows were busy. A dog shadow is busy applauding, and a dog shadow is teaching blue whale to applaud. The last dog shadow forms N-type for one moment and B-type for another. Dracula. He seemed to see a Taoist wandering casually on the ice field and easily found the vampire prince hidden deep in the ice field. Seeing this prompt, Yabai was slightly startled. Yabai looked happy. You mean, I will have a stronger vampire baby? You finally understand the matter of sucking vampire blood. Closer, closer. Whether it is Yebai or Dracula, they are the most powerful beings in the field, so naturally they will not ignore this strangeness. Master, is it too late to confess now? Oh, and now we have to add a powerful seed Shura. Don't be anxious, just watch carefully. Tears burst out suddenly. A huge pig appeared in front of the two of them, opened its mouth and roared, revealing 2 rows of neat teeth. There were no canine teeth, they were all flat. Feeling the aura of his own race getting stronger and stronger, Dracula gritted his teeth and said, Master, in fact, I can be killed, as long as it is a higher level vampire. Looking at the large vampire pig in front of him, Yebai raised the corners of his mouth slightly, not surprised at all. Dracula's expression at this moment was extremely wonderful, including surprise, astonishment, secret joy, and more, buried in sadness. Wilhelm and Xiaoao, 2 generations of powerful seeds have weakened him as a vampire. What a blessing it is. He had a hunch that the boss he was about to face would definitely exceed everyone's imagination. Dracula was not happy for even a second before Yebai continued, whether you accept it or not is another matter. After hearing Shura's words, Dracula calmed down. He was really like a servant, standing beside Shura, waiting quietly. Dracula's heart, how can you be such a dog? It's never too late to confess. The problem lies here, Dracula was cut? The man said to him. Dracula has never seen this scene before. For a moment, he didn't even know whether Dracula was scolding himself or the 3-headed dog of hell. Everything was as he expected. Coming. Coming soon. The other party doesn't have to say a word, Dracula understands. You are a pig. Yebai silently looked at the shadows under the ice. Under the gaze of the 2 people, the shadow broke through the ice and rushed out of the water, revealing its true appearance. The existence under the ice, if both parties are in full strength, Dracula has nothing to fear. Dracula struggled for a moment and said urgently. While the 2 were chatting, the ice in front of them continued to collapse, and a huge shadow rose from the bottom of the water. The terrifying monster was about to reveal its true appearance to the world. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 260. The moment the vampire pig appeared, a black shadow rushed towards it. Woof. Dracula wondered if there was something wrong with his ears. It's clearly a black tiger, why should it bark like a dog? The vampire pig smashed the black tiger into pieces with one impact. Obviously, the 2 sides are not at the same level of strength. Black tiger. Seeing his men killed in battle, Yebai felt sad and almost had tears in his eyes. He looked at Dracula. Don't you want to avenge your dead colleagues? Shura said a word and Dracula wouldn't be able to stop him. First of all, Black Tiger is a shadow-summoned beast. There was no mention of death, but he returned to Nightmare Wine to continue recuperating. Secondly, you are the one who sent Black Tiger to die. In order to test the enemy's strength, wouldn't your conscience hurt if you send your younger brother forward? Dracula remembered that Shura had no such thing. At last, Dracula looked at the menacing vampire pig with a serious expression. Obviously, this man also enjoyed the treatment that Dracula enjoyed. His teeth were polished by Wilhelm, and he was turned into a monster by Xiaoao. Dracula is better. His strength had dropped so much that he had escaped disaster. Only when it comes into contact with psychological shadow will it transform into a vampire pig. The person in front of me was not so lucky. In the past 30 years, while being deeply trapped in reincarnation, he has existed in the world like this. The vampire pig did not act rashly, and stared at Yebai with a pair of blood-red eyes. Obviously, this mage who had never taken action gave him a great sense of oppression. The most important thing is that this man reminded him of the past. Level 200, level 200, level 200. The 3 men who tortured him were all level 200. Once every 30 years or so, it was torture in all directions. Now, here comes the 4th one. I can't bear it anymore, no need to bear it anymore. This time, he was going to strike hard and teach this human mage a lesson. Let him taste the power of the Blood Prince. Unlike Dracula, although this vampire pig was seriously injured, its rank did not drop and it was still at the prince level. That is level 900, the level of a first-level god of war. Opponents of this level, in front of level 200 Yebai, are really not good enough. Even if Yebai Mang comes up with an indiscriminate attack, there is still a chance to kill him directly. But this is not Yebai's style. Through the careful calculation of the Eye of Insight, the probability of Yebai being counter-killed is 0.58%. He decided to use a safer and more suitable fighting method. Yebai hooked his fingers, asked Dracula to come closer to him, and whispered a few words to him in his ear. "Master, are you sure you want to ask this question? Dracula is weird. The tigers were beaten to death and their brains were knocked out. The demon lord didn't use the sky thunder, but instead sent himself to ask questions. Something is wrong." Unfortunately, Dracula had no room for refusal. The little wings lit up and flew forward with flutter. Dracula came to the middle of the battlefield, looked at the vampire pig, and cleared his throat. "My master has something to ask you." "Vampire pig, humph. You, the guy who has stained the blood of the vampires, are actually driven by humans." Dracula pretended that he did not understand pig language and continued. "My master asked." Imitating Shura's previous tone, Dracula repeated word for word. "Tell me, do you have nightmares?" To be honest, Dracula didn't know what the meaning of saying this was. But he couldn't accept what happened next. The body of the prince-level vampire pig was slightly stiff at first, and its eyes were a little distracted. Soon, its blood energy began to lose control and spread in all directions. The whole pig's momentum dropped again and again. Defeat without fighting. Conquer the enemy without fighting. This is a win. Dracula felt that reality was absurd. He guessed the result, but not the process. Demon Lord Shura can always play some new tricks in some places. Yebai in the distance did not relax his vigilance because of the vampire pig's mental breakdown. The opponent is a god of war opponent. Thunder. Reach for the stars. Wins infinite distance. Dracula felt his eyes blurred as Shura came and went, hitting the vampire pig with 3 consecutive attacks, killing it instantly. Boom. After breaking into countless blood mist, a long river of light red blood emerged, and an old vampire prince appeared, slowly gathering strength. "Master, retreat quickly." Dracula was really anxious this time, and while retreating quickly, he growled. "This guy came back from the Blood River and has the combat power of a 9-star prince. He is also the 9th level god of war you often call him." Yebai, who was more than 10,000 miles away, snorted coldly and said disdainfully. "Is the 9th level god of war very powerful? It's not like I haven't killed anyone before." Dracula. "Since you are so talented, don't run so fast." Yebai returned to the same place in the blink of an eye, looking at the bloody river from a distance of thousands of meters. Obviously, this boss is not that easy to deal with. After being killed, he will return with the strength of the 9th level god of war, basically declaring that there is no solution. At this stage, Yebai couldn't kill the 9th level god of war head-on, even if he revealed all his cards. Analyzing weaknesses. The reason why Yebai ran back was certainly not because he was worried about Dracula, but to analyze the other party's weaknesses. The Eye of Insight must be at a close enough distance to analyze. Analysis progress, 0%, 100%. During the enemy's return, use holy water to purify the river of blood to weaken the enemy's strength. Great analysis. Yabai applauded the eye of insight. This time it was really a great achievement. But where to find the holy water? Yabai looked at Dracula and asked. Do you have a good habit of carrying holy water with you to commit suicide? Dracula shook his head after hearing this. No. If you want to restrain the prince-level vampires, you need extremely high-grade holy water. Dracula popularized science for Yabai. Only the purest souls can carry this level of holy water. As he spoke, he glanced at Shura, and the implication was self-evident. Just save yourself the trouble. Even if there is holy water, you cannot carry it, let alone use it. Use the 5 words pure soul to make a sentence for Shura. Shura has a pure demon soul. If you say that, then I understand. Yabai showed a mysterious smile without any trace of panic. Dracula frowned slightly, pretending to be calm, or did he have other plans? Hurry up and clear the level before the vampire prince returns. With what Shura is doing now, a 4's clearance is a sure thing. 5's, hanging. Obviously, the vampire prince who is about to return cannot be eliminated, and Shura has no chance of clearing 5's. The previous methods, whether it was turning into a pig or having a nightmare, should be ineffective at this moment. In other words, Shura can only rely on himself. Yabai came to Blue Whale Blue, who was still insisting on water circulation. Come on, do me a little favor. Under Yabai's command, Blue Whale Blue came to the Blood River and curiously looked at this river that he had never seen before. Put some sunglasses on Blue. After receiving the instruction, the 3-headed hell dog first adjusted its transparency to the highest level, then elongated its body and turned into 2 sunglasses that were placed on Blue Whale's eyes. Everything was ready. Yabai pointed at the river of blood and said seriously. Nut it? Blue Whale Blue seems to understand. While breathing, a water column spurted into the river of blood. The moment the water from the sea of life comes into contact with the river of blood, white light bursts out. The light lit up the entire ice sheet, like a small sun suspended in mid-air, burning and purifying everything around it. Ah! Dracula could not look directly at the bright light, and his eyes even fell into temporary blindness. He wailed. Why is there such a level of holy water? Under the threat of strong light, Dracula's afro instantly turned into a broom head. The whole vampire was so energetic that he only had 1 breath left. This time, Dracula suffered too much that he shouldn't have to bear. The sea water of the Sea of Life is actually the nemesis of vampires, close to the highest quality holy water. Until I saw the return of the 9th level war god level vampire. Only then did Yabai understand why it was said that water from the Sea of Life was needed to break the curse. To be precise, it requires Blue Whale plus the sea water of the Sea of Life. If Blue Whale Blue is sacrificed, there will be no pure soul to carry the holy water. Then facing the 9th level prince, Yabai will definitely lose. The 5 score for this level is not about sacrifice, but about salvation. The object of rescue is not only the people in the village on the ice field, but more importantly, the Blue Whale Blue who keeps dying in countless reincarnations. Only by saving him can you have a chance to pass the level 5s. The first 3 powerful seeds faced the Blood Prince who was seriously injured and had many restrictions, so his strength was not that outrageous. The 9th level prince who flourished after his return was like a bug on the 20th floor. It's a pity that he happened to meet the person who loves bugs the most, Shura. When a bug encounters a stuck bug, Shura is superior and wins. Wearing sunglasses and looking directly at the bright light, Yabai stuffed a handful of popcorn into his mouth and threw the burnt popcorn to the 3-headed hell dog. Sunglasses mode turned on. Why do you still need to wear sunglasses? Yabai said seriously. This gives you the joy of watching a 5D movie. The sense of ritual is very important.